Good day, my wonderful friends, brothers and sisters all across the globe. Coming your way today in another very special class on leadership. It gives me joy having your testimonies, hearing from you, feedback at various times on the various subjects we've been dealing with. It's quite exciting, and I count myself highly honored and privileged to be able to communicate to you on these practical lessons of life. Allow me this morning or at this moment to come your way in these special leadership classes. And we'll be focusing on fundamentals of leadership. The reason this is important is because today many look at the subject of leadership from the surface level, peripheral, not as deep. And as we all know, whatever does not have root cannot stand the winds, another test of time. Now, taking us through these fundamentals, I believe, is going to bring clearer picture of what this subject stands for, so we can all be prepared to make the most of it. What is leadership? And I'd like you to carefully follow me because I may not be talking as much on statutory definitions, but functional. Taking it from the point of experience. What can we really call leadership to be? The number one is responsibility. Leadership is responsibility. And this is very, very fundamental. As a matter of fact, in my view and experience, definition of leadership remains incomplete, absolutely so, no matter how well one may color it, without the inclusion of responsibility. Without responsibility, leadership is empty. Leadership is a vacuum. Leadership is skeletal and has nothing to show. Leadership is not about a person, position, or power. These three items looks like what many have characterized leadership to be all about. Someone may wonder, what then is leadership about? Leadership is about, number one, people. Number two, people. Number three, people. People, people, people. That's what leadership is all about. Simply put, leadership is people focused. A renowned teacher in the subject of leadership, John C. Maxwell, had said, if a man looks back and he does not find anyone following him, he should not mistake himself to be a leader, but simply taking a stroll. So the measure of leadership is people. People around him, people behind him. Without people, the essence of leadership is non-existent. Never think you're a leader if you don't have people around you. Leadership is never in isolation or a vacuum. It's not in title, but in task. It's not in power, but in assignment. It's not in position, but in duty, in function. As a matter of fact, God appoints a leader and people accept a leader depending on his relevance to them. It's not a title over people, but a task towards people. It's not position of rulership, like many have made a mistake, but influence and impact towards people. Leaders are not called to rule over people, but to make impact among people. Leadership is not power at disposal to control people, but to render help towards the needs of people. That's what leadership is all about. So, accepting responsibility for the well-being of others is fundamental key to successful leadership. What am I saying? If you are not willing to accept responsibility for the well-being of people, then you are not ready to be a leader among the people or over the people. Now, I have discovered that people will accept your leadership only by the responsibility you show to them. Those who go for services to render don't ever seek leadership position to occupy. Today we have a struggle for how people will occupy position. That's not necessary. Render service to people, they'll be willing to serve you and work with you. Seeking opportunity to serve is not the same as ambition for position to occupy, or power to possess, or name to earn or acquire. The truth is, my good friend, if you accept responsibility to serve the interest of people, you will never need to beg to lead them. Leadership is not what you live for or pronounce yourself to be. Neither is it endowed. If you base leadership platform on this, it will fail woefully. Leadership status is assumed by accepting responsibility for the well-being of others. It is those who stick out their head and push out their chest in pursuit of good interest of others who become the leaders of such people. If you are not a committed steward, you will never become a true leader. That's the way it works. Therefore, accept responsibility to take the lead or to help, and people will be very willing to follow you. We've seen clear examples with the leader of all times, Jesus Christ. He laid his life down for people he met everywhere. He was disposed to serving them, and so they were willing to follow him even to a point of dying for him. In this next definition of leadership, I want to take us through the fact that leadership is work. Leadership is not title, but task to be carried out. A great leader, Paul the Apostle, in his epistle to his student and son in the work of the ministry, Timothy, while directing him on criteria for leadership in 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1, he said specifically, if a man desires the office of an overseer, he desires a good work, not a good position, not a good name. What we have around us today is title seekers, position ambitious people, people who want to be there for the sake of being there, people who want to be rather seen rather than having their work exhibited. It's a good work. That's why lazy people cannot sustain position of leadership. Diligence takes a man up, and only diligence can retain him there. True to this, another great leader, Solomon, in Proverbs chapter 22 verse 29 had said, seest thou a man diligent in his business? He will stand before kings and not before men. He will not apply for it. He will rise up to it, to that level. people take the lift of diligence to climb up to lead. Put a lazy man in leadership, he will slip off until everything slips off his hand. He will be indolent, he will be lazy, he will have nothing to hold because of his laziness. So leadership is not a badge to wear, but a task to carry out. Leaders are identified by their works and not by position, not by the name or title they bear. It's not a definition of position, as I've said earlier, but an exhibition of duties. What do you have to show is what followers are concerned about. They may admire you for your words, for your eloquence, but they will follow you for your worth. And your worth is a function of your works. So if you are not willing to work, then you are not ready to lead. Result producers are the ones who command followership. Actually, I tell people, before you follow a man, next to his character that you examine are his works. What works does he have to validate the position he occupies? Because please listen to this. The man you follow will place a seal over your life. Where you will ever reach in life is predetermined by the one you are following. Because as Jesus said, a servant cannot be greater than his master, no matter how hard he tries. Leaders set the pace. They lift up the standard through the works they exhibit for others to follow. Actually, you are to walk your way into leadership, not pray your way into it, not beg your way into it, not campaign your way into it. You walk your way there. You see, those who walk their way up to leadership don't have problem returning wherever God takes them up to, because their work sustains them. So, practical leading stems from work. That's where the root is. As it were, please listen to this. Walking is the practice of leading. Walking. Unconsciously, as you are walking, you are practicing your way to leading. Keep walking. Keep practicing. And when you get there, it fits. Those who really walk are the ones who will take the lead eventually. Again, I hope this lesson will be a blessing to you. What am I saying to you? If you are at the low position, walk. Middle class, walk. At the top, walk. If you are at the top and you stop walking, people who are below you will soon take over from you. To retain your place, keep the work on. God bless you mightily. As you put this to work, I believe I will be hearing some great testimonies from you shortly. Amen.